Hi everyone, Mikey79 here and welcome to this new deck tech video of Magic Duels. Today I got a Delirium Golgari deck for you guys, and that's something that I've wanted to build for a long time already, but I never gotten to it. Anyway, I built it just a couple of hours ago, so it's a pretty early build. So lots of improvements are possible, I guess. I have tested it a bit, of course, and it does okay. It's fun to play with, I like it, and that's why I want to share it with you guys, so let's check it out. So the first card that we got is a Gnarlwood Dryad, a 1-drop for 1 green. We get a 1/1, which is okay, but he does have Death Touch, which is already pretty good because that means early game, yeah, it's a little hitter, so that's pretty good. And later in the game, it's a pretty decent blocker because of the Death Touch, of course. Now, if we do get Delirium going on, then he gets +2/+2. And Delirium, you guys probably already know that. That means that there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. So you have to work to it a little bit to get the Delirium going on. But when you do, this is for a 1 mana cost creature, you get a lot of in return. Then, the Vessel of Nascency, I guess you pronounce it like that. 1 green mana, you get an enchantment that you can sack for 2 mana. And when you sack it, you reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, plant, or planeswalker card, so basically everything, among them into your hand, and put the rest into your graveyard. Now, of course, putting cards into our graveyard is exactly what we want to do, because we want to fill the graveyard up to get the Delirium going on. So this is a nice addition. I play 2 copies. You don't want to play too many of these either. At least I don't. Then the Deathcap Cultivator. 2 mana, 1 green. We get a 2/1. It's a pretty decent hitter. And his ability is to add a black or a green to your mana pool if you tap him. And when you get Delirium going on, then you give him Death Touch, which is also pretty nice because it makes him also a pretty great late game blocker like this one. Then the Sylvan Advocate, 2 mana and green. You get already a decent body. It's a 2/3. He has Vigilance, which is also a neat ability. And when you control 6 or more lands, him and land creatures you control get +2/+2. Now, yeah, early game, late game, mid game, it's always a good card, great value. You see a lot of him, and with good reason. Then the Evolutionary Leap, 2 mana, 1 green. We get an enchantment, and if we pay 1 green and sacrifice a creature, we get to reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card and put that card into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So yeah, basically this is to replace a creature with something better, or when a creature of ours is being the target of a spot removal, then we can sack him in response to the Evolutionary Leap, for example, and then we can play another creature. So yeah, pretty great card. Then Grapple with the Past. This is kind of a key card in this deck. For 2 mana, 1 green, we get an instant spell, and we get to put the top 3 cards of our library into the graveyard, and then we may return a creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Now this is pretty decent because yeah, we fill the graveyard for our Delirium and we get something back, and it doesn't have to be one of those 3 cards that we've put in with the Grapple, but of course anything that's already in our graveyard, as long as if it's a creature or a land card, we get to bring it back. So pretty decent. Then the Pilgrim's Eye. There are a couple of reasons why I play this little fellow, and one of them is it's colorless, so that's already good to play it. You're not bounded to your colors. So, and when we play him, we get a 1/1 body, which isn't great for the mana cost. He does have flying, so he's got evasion. But we basically play him because we get to search our library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So for me, this is the best next thing that replaces the Sylvan Ranger that we've lost with the expansion, the latest expansion. And this comes close. Okay, he's 1 mana more expensive, but he does exactly the same thing. Also, when he winds up in our graveyard, it's an artifact creature, so it's already two types. It's an artifact and a creature, so that's great to trigger the Delirium. Then a card that I'm not too sure of if I should play it or not, but the Graveblade Marauder does have great synergy with our graveyard. He's a 1/4 for 3 mana black, and he has Dead Touch already from the beginning, so also great early defender. And when you hit with him, he deals combat damage to a player, then that player loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Now, we do play 21 creatures, that's already decent, and with the Grapple, for example, and the Evolutionary Leap, we do put some creatures in our graveyard, so yeah, this can be a real threat mid-game or late game for your opponent. Then Nissa Vastwood Seer. Yeah, I still like this Planeswalker, you guys know that by now. When we play her and she enters the battlefield, we get to search for a forest, reveal it and put it into our hand, and whenever the 7th land enters the battlefield, we get to flip her into the Planeswalker side. And then when we +1 her, yeah, it's basically card advantage. -2 is a creature on the board, and -7 is usually good game. So decent Planeswalker, and yeah, I like the fact in this deck that she is a creature, because that way we can get her back with the Grapple, for example. Yeah, nice card. Then the Inexorable Blob. For 3 mana and agree, we get a 3/3, which is an okay cost. But when we get the Delirium, whenever he attacks, you get to put a 3/3 green ooze creature token onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So yeah, this is a pretty good card. Yeah, it can get out of hand pretty fast if your opponent doesn't deal with it. Then I play 1 copy of the Reclamation Sage, and I guess I play this actually for the Sphinx tutelage. It's still an archetype deck that you see in the current meta. Maybe not that much, but yeah, because we already put cards in our graveyard of our own, if we on top of that are getting milled, then yeah, that could be a problem. So I play 1 copy just to be able to deal with that. Then the 2 copies of the Eldritch Evolution. Still figuring out if I like this card or not, actually. We do pay 3 mana to green, and we get to sack a creature, and then we get to search our library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less than the sacrificed creature, and then we get to search our library and put that creature into the battlefield, and this one gets exiled. Now, it's too bad that it gets exiled, because it's a sorcery card. It would be pretty nice to have in the graveyard to have the Delirium triggered, but that's why I'm still figuring out if it's got a spot in this deck or not. I'm still working on that, but I think, yeah, if you can sack an early creature early in the game and you can get one of the bigger ones, that's always nice to jump ahead. Then Liliana, the Last Hope. Yeah, a 3 mana Planeswalker, which does a pretty good job and got some synergy with this deck. The +1 is great to hold early game back. The -2 has definitely got some value here, because yeah, we are going to have some creatures in our graveyard and we can get something back. And the emblem, yeah, it's a game winner. Then the Mindwrack Demon. Now this is a card that you don't want to play when you don't have the Delirium going on, because he does damage to you if so. But it all depends a bit on the situation, I guess. He's got Flying, Trample, a 4/5, and you only play 4 mana for that, so that's pretty decent. And when he enters the battlefield, you get to put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard, so that helps you to trigger the Delirium. So, but usually you do wanna play this one only when you're sure that you get the Delirium, because yeah, losing 4 life at the beginning of your upkeep, it ain't nothing. So yeah. Then Languish, yeah, I still like to play some kind of board wipe for aggressive decks or decks that go wide generally. Yeah, it's still a basic, I think. Then Ishkanah, or however you say it, Grafwidow. For 5 mana we get a 3/5 with reach, and with Delirium, when it enters the battlefield, we get to put 3 1/2 green spiders with reach onto the battlefield. And for 7 mana we can pay 7 mana and then target opponent loses 1 life for each spider you control, so that would be 4 if they're still all in play. Now if you can sack this one and recur it and play it again and whatever, then yeah, you probably have a lot of spiders, and then it could go really fast for your opponent. Then the Gitrog Monster, 5 mana, we get a pretty good body for that cost. It's a 6/6, and he's legendary, so we can only play 1 copy, but that's no problem because he's a mythic anyway. And he's got Death Touch. Now, okay, the Death Touch is nice, but I don't think that it's really necessary on a 6/6, but hey, it's a nice addition. And then at the beginning of our upkeep, we sacrifice the Gitrog Monster unless we sacrifice a land. And you may play an additional land on each of your turns, and whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, we get to draw a card. So yeah, it's a draw engine. You can ramp a bit, you can go faster, whatever. It's a pretty neat creature. Then the Woodland Bellower, yeah, for 6 mana we get a 6/5. It's a well-known creature by now. He's being played for a year by now, and when he enters the battlefield we get to search our library for a non-legendary green creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle our library. So yeah, we got a lot of creatures that we can get. We can get this one, the Gnarlwood Dryad, the Deathcap Cultivator, or something that you usually see that's being getting searched with the Woodland Bellower. It's this one, the Sylvan Advocate. You get a lot of power on the board for that 6 mana. You can also go find this one, or the Reclamation Sage if we need to blow up an enchantment or an artifact. So yeah, it's pretty versatile in this deck. You can search for a lot of things. Then the Ever After, I do play the 2 copies because it's possible that one winds up into the graveyard with a Grapple, for example. And this is a card that we really would like to play a little bit later in the game, because for 6 mana we can go into our graveyard and put 2 creatures back onto the battlefield, so that's pretty neat. And then the Gaea's Revenge, yeah, still a very decent card in my opinion. 7 mana, an 8/5, can be countered. He's got haste and he can be targeted by non-green spells or abilities from non-green sources, so that's pretty awesome. Now with Blessed Alliance, it's a bit less good than it used to be, but it's still a great card, and I think we do play enough creatures to attack together with him, so that he doesn't have to attack all alone. Then for the mana base, now I don't play that many blacks, so I only play 4 swamps, then forests, the Hissing Quagmire, 2 copies, then 2 copies of the Woodland Cemetery. I play the Drownyard Temple because it goes great with the Gitrog Monster, and 4 Evolving Wilds because yeah, a land into our graveyard triggers the Delirium faster, which is pretty nice. And yeah, that's the deck for you guys. Like I said, I just built it a couple of hours back. I like it. I just have to test it and tune it probably a bit more. But I think the build, how it is right now, it can already stand on its own. A few cards like maybe the Graveblade Marauder and especially the Eldritch Evolution are cards that are maybe replaceable with something else. But anyway, that's the deck. Let's check out the mana curve. So we got 5 1-drops, and then it goes a bit steeper until 3, and then a few 4, 5, and 6 drops. So yeah, pretty decent curve. 24 lands. I think that's good to start with. We'll see what it does. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. For the deck tech video, at least. I hope I see you guys at the gameplay video. See you then. Bye bye.